Under Armour isn't just building another office. What you see here is TMB2, a groundbreaking structure that could redefine how we build many commercial structures in America. From its cutting-edge design to its role in one of the largest urban revitalization efforts in the US, this headquarters is pushing the boundaries of modern construction. To help me explain, today I traveled to the rapidly developing Baltimore Peninsula. In 2016, Under Armour purchased 50 acres of land in Port Covington, Baltimore. Their existing headquarters was located in the nearby neighborhood of Locust Point. The decision to change locations was primarily to consolidate operations in a post-COVID world and better support future growth. But there was another, more financially derived reason that led them to make this change, one that I'll discuss later in the video. The main focus of this development surrounds the building known as TMB2, or Teammate Building 2. Many describe its look to be similar to a futuristic stadium, and there's so much happening on the design side that it's kind of hard to summarize in just a couple of minutes. First off, the building's design team was led by Gensler. I've covered several projects they've designed in the past, and their resume is up there with the best architectural firms in the world. About a decade ago, Under Armour came to Gensler with extremely ambitious goals for this project. The building features a sleek design, dominated by the extensive use on the north side of the building of ETFE, or ethylene tetrafluoroethylene. This transparent polymer is becoming increasingly popular on new construction projects, and I seem to be talking about it in every other video now. This material gives the building a futuristic and lightweight appearance, allowing for abundant natural light on the interior while providing some level of thermal insulation. The east, west, and south sides of the building are entirely covered in glass. According to sources, the glass has been engineered to reduce solar heat, something that many all-glass buildings consistently struggle with. On the interior, the building's first floor will feature a 2-story, 30,000 square foot Under Armour retail store and a similarly sized fitness-oriented performance center. And above these, the upper 4 floors are dedicated entirely to office space. In terms of sustainability, plenty of the building's characteristics will make this building stand out. First off, the roof is covered with a solar array that blends perfectly into the slope of the ETFE panels. But solar panels aren't exclusive to the roof. They're also used as a canopy over the surrounding parking lots. While these most likely won't cover the entire electrical demand of the building, they should significantly reduce its dependency on the grid. By my rough calculations, based on average solar panel performance in the Baltimore area, the rooftop solar array alone should produce an equivalent amount of power as around 123 US homes. The building will also use geothermal heating and cooling. This is where geothermal heat pumps will circulate a specialized heat transfer fluid to exchange thermal energy between the building and the stable temperatures of the shallow earth. And on top of this, the building will also incorporate rainwater harvesting. The construction of this massive building was nothing short of a unique process. Because of the amount of mass timber used in the build, it was a learning process for all parties involved. A director at Gensler admitted that there's still a massive learning curve when it comes to mass timber projects of this scale. But if that worries you at all about the safety or structural integrity of the building, it shouldn't, because every step of the construction and design process was heavily thought through and engineered. Austrian supplier Binderholz was selected to provide all of the mass timber. The type of timber used is CLT, or cross-laminated timber. CLT is manufactured by stacking layers of dried timber boards perpendicular to each other and bonding them with adhesive. This cross-lamination is what gives it an increase in strength and stability. The learning curve of using this much timber really lies in the fact that the material isn't fully standardized yet. Because of this, structural firm Thornton Tomasetti adjusted the structural details to align with the preferences of the construction team, instead of creating custom timber designs. This approach not only saved money in the manufacturing process, but also ensured that the final design remained consistent with Gensler's vision. Once the site was cleared and excavated, construction began with the installation of a massive concrete foundation to support the entire structure. Following that, 4 reinforced concrete stairwells were erected, providing the building's vertical core. With the stairwells in place, the assembly of the cross-laminated timber framework officially commenced. As an interesting note, the mass timber beams will actually be exposed on the interior of the building, and they'll set the desired aesthetic of the office and retail space. Once the timber work was completed, the glass panels were installed, and after most of the glass was in place, the team added the ETFE panels. The signage obviously isn't fully installed yet, but it likely will be by the time this video is live. Most of the remaining work is focused on the building's interior, with full completion of the building expected by the end of 2024. While the TMB2 building seems to be a successful implementation of mass timber construction, at least at this point, the adoption of the building material in the US seems to be lagging. As of March 2023, around 1,700 mass timber projects had been constructed or were in design in the US. For context, 5.9 million commercial buildings were constructed in 2019 alone. Mass timber construction obviously offers sustainability advantages over concrete and steel. But what are the other benefits and drawbacks of the material? First, mass timber is significantly lighter, making transportation and assembly faster and cheaper compared to heavier steel and concrete. However, mass timber is more susceptible to fire and moisture damage. Additionally, mass timber often has higher initial costs due to limited production, whereas the traditional materials are more readily available and supported by established building codes. But what some people pushing for mass timber seem to brush over are the material's most obvious drawbacks. Steel has a tensile strength that's very roughly 10 times that of mass timber, and concrete's compressive strength is at a minimum 2 times higher than CLT. Because of this, mass timber structures typically max out below 20 stories. And while the technology to produce the material is likely to improve, which could in turn help its properties, mass timber will most likely never be able to produce the same results. There are, however, many applications below 20 stories where the material will be used more commonly in the future as it gets cheaper. The Port Covington project in Baltimore, which has since been rebranded as Baltimore Peninsula, is a massive 235-acre redevelopment initiative on the city's waterfront. As I mentioned in the intro, this is one of the largest urban revitalization efforts in the US, aiming to transform the area into a vibrant mixed-use neighborhood with residential, office, retail, and recreational spaces. The first major phase, known as Chapter 1B, is entirely completed and includes over 1.1 million square feet of new development. This phase features a mix of residential units, including affordable housing, office spaces, retail areas, and community amenities. I even had a chance to eat at the Rye Street Tavern, one of the new restaurants that opened in mid-July 2024 as a part of this development. The only thing more obvious than how nice the restaurant was and how much the bill hurt my wallet was all the new development and construction going on around it. The overall plan for the Baltimore Peninsula envisions up to 14 million square feet of mixed-use development, 2.5 miles of restored waterfront, and 40 acres of parks and green spaces. Back in 2016, the Baltimore City Council approved a $660 million bond financing package for Kevin Plank's $5.5 billion project. This marked the largest tax increment financing deal in the city's history. The bonds, to be repaid by Plank's Sagamore development through future tax revenue, will fund infrastructure improvements for the project. While the deal includes a $100 million package of city benefits, critics have labeled the measure as corporate welfare, arguing it diverts funds from essential services like fire departments and schools. Proponents, however, believe the benefits far outweigh the costs. On the existing land that Under Armour initially purchased sat a closed-down Walmart, which has since been used for storage, a Sam's Club, and a significant amount of underutilized space that had historical remnants of the shipping yard that existed in the area a century before. The transition to the new campus has happened in 3 phases. The first phase involved relocating the product innovation and technical design teams to the completely renovated Sam's Club. The second phase included the construction of an NCAA regulation track and field facility with a multi-sport playing field. This facility and the surrounding area was designed primarily as a testing ground for product development and sports marketing. While TMB2 has not completed yet, it's a great example of a large-scale sustainable commercial building and will help pave the way for future mass timber projects around the US. I want to thank you for watching and ask that you please consider leaving some feedback via the Google Forms link in the description. It's crazy that the channel is now over 12,000 subscribers, and I want to say thank you. With all that being said, I'll see you next time.